Got your message. Are the machines fully operational?
It's 100% accurate. We can identify and locate any telekinetic event and the person it came from. Every subject signal is unique.
Like a fingerprint, I know.
It's Bo, Roman. It's definitely Bo's signal.
Point of origin?
North Philadelphia. We have it triangulated to a 1-block radius.
Crack hour been mobilized?
Per your orders, yes.
How Krakauer accomplishes his objective is not your concern, Zoe.
Things are different between me and Tate, now that we both know.
I think he just needs some time. Time to get his head around things. But at least he's trying.
Why didn't you tell me sooner?
Winter wanted Tate to get to know you first, so he'd be comfortable. Then he'd want to stay.
They found us.
There's two more coming this way.
To the roof. Come on, let's go. Let's go. The roof. Go, go. Quickly.
You sure that thing's safe?
No, Mr. Tate, I'm not. But we have no choice. Come on.
Come on, I'll take it. Come on. Nice job, kid.
Come on, you guys.
Let's go.
Thanks.
John Lilly once put it this way: there are no limits at all to the human mind whatsoever, except those we impose on ourselves because of our beliefs. And those limits are also beliefs to be transcended. And that's a view that suggests that the possibilities of human transformation are virtually infinite. And we have no way of knowing the outer horizon of what it means to be human.
And really, to understand all this, everything, you have to go very, very deep into a study of history, consciousness, neurophysiology, everything. You have to be the supreme eclectic type of leaning, and you really have to be wanting to know who you are and what everything's about.
And the thing that you'll find when you go to sacred sites, if you're very humble about it, is that you are on a personal journey, and the sacred site will respond to you in a way that is appropriate only to you. The information is always what you are searching for. And it's the intent you give that energy that defines whether it is used for right action or not. And it is inside these sacred spaces that you will be reminded that you are a god, that you are a bright star.
So what you're trying to do is move through the course without ricocheting off walls or creating karma. You're trying to slide through things smoothly. How do you do that? It's called flowing. There's a technique that you can do that will allow you to touch some part of your inner being that has more knowledge and your conscious state does.
Hey, welcome. Andre Hodge, Infinite Potential Healing, Summit of Truth with you once more. Thank you as always for being here. I appreciate you for whatever you've had to endure, overcome and outlast to be here with me now on what will be a very, very special and privileged release for myself, where I get to share with you for the first time one of my epic allies that has really been in the trenches with me for many years at various levels, whether it's been as a client, sessions, ally in missions, or just being an epic, peerless peer in her own right that has a really wonderful mechanics in her perceptions that are just really quite peerless in the world and stuff. So I'm very fortunate to know quite a few like this, and I've done a lot with her in the past, but she's been through a lot, particularly the last 12 months or so, but for many years that I've known her, she's been like you and many of them very highly aware, highly targeted and stuff. But as I said in the last release in my Emotional Mastery Part 9, which I really hope you guys invest in, because I offered some mechanics in there that will really help you transmute all that's affecting us into a life force benefit. There's some really important mechanics in there that I really hope you get into. It's, like I said, a real honor for me to offer this, because I've done a lot of work with this particular individual, but there's been many that I have done work over, like I said in the last video, maybe 80 to 100 GSFs in the last 18 months. And I'm just going to be offering her as SuperA, because I'm just going to keep her a bit undercover at the moment. If you see me move, it's probably because I'm dealing with mosquitoes, alright, again. They're out in force, alright. But she, it's not about me offering one of my allies so that you can all access her. It's more about me offering her a stepping stone in her epic journey, because I have a unique way of dealing with people and holding space and defending people the way I've done for many years, 10 years plus, doing these sort of missions and stuff. But also it's by doing this, not only just sharing it publicly, but literally doing the mission which I worked out was ready to be done. It's like a confirmation and a reward for her of her investment and trust and hanging in there with me over this last 18 months in particular, which has been like a very brutal 12 months for her. So I'm just going to do a bit of a short intro. And what I'm going to offer here is part 1 of about 5-hour recording that we did October 5th, so last Saturday, last weekend. And it came about over an evolution of myself appreciating many things. Like in my last 2 weeks, I've done 3 earth pranic healings and 2 big missions, and this one will be broken into 2 recordings. And when you listen to what we get into this, it's enough to be its own mega mission, right? But this one is just a warm up to what will be a second recording in this. So this one is going to be, it's basically I worked out something really big, all right? And I worked this out about a month or 2 ago. And the first part of this recording is just us having an interaction and me testing the water with her to make sure it's okay and it's safe for her, but also just checking her mechanics and see where she's at, which eventually led into a bit of me doing a pranic on her to get her on a game. And as I offer in my mechanics and my sessions and stuff, it's not so much we go out there after stuff, it's more about carving out our space to be sovereign and clear and stuff. And so one of the variables I've offered about myself is my IT background of solution orientated. And so say if I have interactions with people and in sessions and say the evolution of what I do, particularly in the sovereignty declaration and things like that, it's all been a byproduct of what's gone on in sessions and the craziness that occurs to people that we discover, and this particular individual I've discovered a lot with, right? But my thing, and I'm sure many of you are like this, it's like, when will this freaking shit end, right? And it's not about like finding a destination and stuff, but it's at least like what we've been up against, alright? So I might show you one image quick, alright? So this is the solution mechanics that I've talked about and stuff. And so the red being the resistance against the individuals of us, the blue being the very few that have been really committed in that, and the green being the numbers and stuff, right? And what I've offered in this is, it's a metaphor of many things in our individual journey, like learning anything. So you invest in pranic healing, like eventually you'll get a crossover of, it might feel like you're getting nowhere, and then all of a sudden you put it together and then you get this parabolic growth, right? So what I'm saying about when will this end, right? Like the parabolic that we've been going on is the awareness expansion, so understanding the mechanics, the 22D and stuff like that. And so I'm appreciative of the process, like the green is the process. The process is part of it. It's not about the destination, it's the process. If you stick to the process, the byproduct is solution and stuff like that, alright? So the process that we're all going through is the epic journey of accelerated awareness. And if you've really invested in what I've said, I really hope that you've appreciated the parabolic growth that you've gone through, and maybe you're so peerless now that there's very few that can validate you and all this sort of stuff, and you have to self-validate and appreciate yourself as a reality authority. But getting to what I was offering, like I offered the technicals about destination, process and stuff, and it's the unknown. We don't know what's been going on and stuff, but getting the 22D mechanics and stuff, it's pretty superior, alright? So I might just switch to that image. I'm just going to use the spiritual no man's land. So getting through this, alright, what we've been trying to get through and stuff, and what I'm offering about the solution sort of stuff is doing all the earth healings and all the individual healings and stuff, getting an appreciation of the mechanics, right? And I was just feeding all this information into my algorithm and stuff, right? And what I realized, with being infinite potential of what all the possibilities are and appreciating all the mechanics, right? What I realized is, hey, we can do a healing on pure source itself, right? So if I show you the image, so this is the triangle overlay of the circle, right? So the triangle was in front of the circle. So I was like, how about we do a pure source healing, alright, of source itself, alright? So I was holding on to this about 2 months, 6 weeks or whatever. And so the first part of this recording is just testing the waters to see if she's okay. I was also testing my security, whether holding on to it, like I was not allowing it to be known, and I was just holding it. And we talk about the pre-equinox of many things that were going on, and I just had to be really careful with this because it was a single point of failure, alright? And so the initial part of this interaction, and we get into some big stuff, that's about just checking that she's got all her angles covered and stuff, and I was just seeing if she was perceiving stuff, because potentially this epic mission that we do was known on some level. And this first recording is, it builds like that parabolic and it goes off right towards the end, and then we have a break, and then I get into the second part, which is the main thing, alright? But it's a very rich recording, alright, of many variables, and we talk about stuff and testing all sorts of angles and stuff and getting her clear, and you can hear her evolving in the session and stuff like that, alright? But this recording on its own is an epic recording, alright? What we do in this is profound, and you can feel the momentum build, and then we really get into it, alright? So I'll just go back to another image. So this is one I've offered in Intuitive Potential Part 4, but going back to GSF 32 and 33. 32 was about not knowing the Earth was in trouble and defending her. And then GSF 33 was about the Dreamtime mission and busting the invasion intent. And one of the things we worked out is what was going on in North Carolina relative to the lithium mine was they're wanting to trade it off-world with off-world species, and basically we audited all that and stuff and busted all that. So what I'm saying that related to GSF 33 with busting the Dreamtime mission, I think that was part of what was going on there. But I also get to order Asher. We audited Asher and the Beloveds and worked out what's going on with them. So, but what I'm offering this is relative to how potent just a very few at very high level are, if they're clear and stuff, and what we do in this, alright? Working out that solution mechanics of, alright, this is all that's been going on and I can do it. And so I worked out relative to the pure source thing of we can actually clear source itself of all the invasion at the hierarchical apex level, alright? And so this image is about what a few of us can do, alright? And yeah, I don't want to say too much. I've already talked a fair bit. This is only meant to be a short intro, but basically the evolution of my sessions and stuff has been a byproduct of the evolution of what we've understood and stuff. So I think, you know, that whole, we're getting close, we're brewing solutions and stuff. For me, this is an enormous privilege to be able to share this with you and offer one of my allies so you can actually get some coordinates of a different perspective and frequency that she offers and hear how pure and epic she is. And it might be a metaphor of many of you out there who are so peerless that no one recognizes how phenomenal you are. And I'll just say this, there's a lot of people out there that you might want more perception than you have. A lot of these very highly aware people have enormous trouble. They're very targeted, and having so much is the challenge. Like, what do you look at and stuff? So that's where I'm a bit like, I'm pretty good because I'm grounded and I'm anchored and I can focus their talents and stuff. And so that's why I do it a lot in sessions, because it's got to be safe and clear, and I'm very good at doing that. All right. So what I'll do is I'll leave it here. The first part is where we warm up, and then we get into a bit of a clearing, and once she starts really getting clear, then we track everything back and it evolves from that. So this one is about clearing the path for pure source healing, GSF 34, and there'll be a future release with the main event, alright? But I hope you get a lot from this. I hope you enjoy the ride, and I'll see you on the other side, alright? Enjoy.
Hello.
Hello, SuperA.
Hello, Andre. I was trying to think of your other names the other day when I was writing back to an email. It was like Aladdin, Crocodile Dundee.
Crocodile, Star-Lord, Wolverine, Aladdin, Dundee.
Yeah. Popped into my head. How are you?
I'm here. How are you?
Well, yeah, it's good to be here.
You're a little bit muffled.
Is that better?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'll try a different pair of headphones.
You sound a bit blocked up.
I probably am still clearing some stuff out. That's weeks ago. Yeah.
Or you're getting energy overloaded and your histamine reaction's kicking in.
Yeah. It is a bit like that. It's definitely some stuff clearing. It started right before I went to the chiropractor. So yeah, I'm used to it now. But yeah, it is a bit still cracking and stuff.
So how are you doing? You right?
Yeah, good. Last week was crazy. It's pretty crazy. Last Friday, but got through it, and then everything that happened on the weekend. So that sort of made sense a bit, I guess. It's made as much sense as it can. And then today's been a good day. Yesterday was good, yeah.
So it's October 5th. It's just clocked over 5:55 p.m. my time. But I was just thinking before, like, I was sort of in a bit no man's land, so I decided to make some food and have a decent feed, right? And I could have gone without food, but I just thought, nah, let's fill the belly sort of thing. And I was thinking it was like, it's almost a year ago today since shit went down, and we did some good stuff, but you've been through an interesting year, right? So like, it seems like you're starting to really get back to yourself after a year and, you know, taking responsibility and being a bit careful and stuff, but you're coming out pretty strong at the moment, right?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Well, in a lot of a lot of aspects, I've never been this good before. Like, I've never been me before.
Yeah.
So yeah, so much, so much, for sure.
But,
so I'm feeling pretty strong, yeah. And just when I do reflect back on, even like to meet up with you or get an email or anything from you, like those, it's a bit of a smoother interaction process.
Yeah.
So even just that sort of reflection's good moving forward, and definitely less like physical stuff randomly. Yeah, it's been pretty good. A lot of it's just keeping the mental under control. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm calling you SuperA for a reason, to keep you undercover, maybe. All right. So we'll see how we go. All right.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess to me, I mean, you're very aware, right? I've been in a zone and there's been chaos. Like, I know, I've been doing this a long time and I see the patterns, like in the craziness, like, why are things ramping up right now? What is going on here and all this sort of stuff? And usually one variable of that is potentially stuff is sent through time and it's rippling back. And I just got this wave over my left eye just saying that. So something's trying to get in. But so I guess I don't know what you perceive about me, but I don't really react much. I'm just like, I'm just me. But it's fascinating because I said I made some food and stuff. And I went to my fridge to get my broccoli and I realized, oh, that's right, I left it on the ground at the market yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, I've been a little bit scattered as well. Like, it's funny, like counting money, I'm really good with mathematics and stuff, and I've just been off with money. Like, I couldn't work out, last week I couldn't work out $65. I gave 55 and I was like, you should give me $1 change, and and stuff like that. And I'm getting very sweaty right now. Interesting.
Oh.
So I've got coffee here with me, but my body is like sweating a lot. So
okay.
So it's been a pretty hectic month, going back, leading up to the equinox. My perception of that, what I said was, there's an assumption I felt that many people were still hooked into a lot of shit that negative aspects were benefiting from, and say, what I do in my mechanics, and I've offered it and held the line and stuff like that, and potentially quite a few people have embodied it without even knowing it. So they've actually freed themselves from the apparatus that they might have been entangled with in the past. So if they've done the sovereignty declaration, now that we did the 22D Earth soul upgrade and stuff like that, and getting the mechanics right and putting it linguistically in the sovereignty declaration, and it was feeling like some of those apparatus that were benefiting from these people, they were like, oh frack, I'm not getting my shit from these people anymore. So they were trying to get into a lot of people just leading up to it. So there was a lot of crunch for a lot of people that, say, me as a public thing is, then people would seek out, or say I'm the instigator of the cause of them losing that. So then it was going after me and stuff like that, which, I'm built pretty differently than most, so I can handle it. But it was just very interesting because a lot of people, I feel, were going through a real crunch before the equinox, and it was rough, right? And I don't usually get into the equinoxes and stuff. Like I just, like, the way I operate is they're marker stones of like reflection of how I've invested in myself and what I've achieved in the last 3 months, sort of thing.
Yep.
But this one was like, wow, this is like it literally is a crossover sort of thing. So did you get anything from the equinox?
Yeah. Well, I started to feel the flip,
Yeah.
towards the end of August. And because I had sort of built up for that being my birthday and 40th, so I'd sort of...
Happy birthday, superstar.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Welcome to 40 Club. Now you can really be a brat. Now you recover your inner child, right? Like, in the older you get, you become Benjamin Button, right?
Yep, yeah. Yeah, you do. So I'd sort of put that there, and then at the same time, this other stuff was happening as well, and I was like, this feels like a seasonal change, and it's only the end of August. And then it's almost like I felt it like pull back, because it sort of went like a to and fro that week, and then it kind of re-stabilized again, and then the whole collective equinox thing happens anyway. So yeah, I'm doing a similar kind of thing, not that I'm comparing myself or anything in any way, but just I'm using those seasons as markers now, as well as like, oh, okay.
That's right. You said in August, you were feeling it a month before now, I remember. Yeah, because it was 25th of August, I think, is when we caught up last. So it was around then. And then it kind of resettled again, and then a few of these like worldwide things, global things have happened since then as well. And then it feels like it's all sort of coming together in a way. Like this coming together, merging, like there's stuff getting pushed out. What is it now? 5th of October. So it's been 2 weeks since then, but yeah. So I've been in my own world as well with working through things and focusing on the Cairo and stuff. Yeah.
That's all just, and like physical things of a lot of stuff we've done over the last few years, that's getting readjusted physically now, which is really interesting. Like my back right hip, all that Venus stuff, like that's getting physically readjusted now. So that's really interesting.
Invader network, I call it now.
Just the whole thing, yeah.
It's all the invasion crap. So, yeah, it's interesting. I had a real bad head injury when I was 13. I was playing chasey in this park area around Adelaide, and I was looking behind me, and I clotheslined myself, running really fast over this pole across the creek bed I didn't even know, and I knocked myself out. And what that did, it hit the back of, like I was looking around my right shoulder, left shoulder, and I hit the back of my right head, I think. And what it did, I pushed my atlas against my skull, and I didn't even know it happened. So the whiplash of that, like, really ripped my neck, and it, like, basically pressed the atlas against the skull for 2 years. And that was when I was 13. And it was interesting because I lost, like, a lot of stability. Like, I really hated the transition from primary school to high school, and it was rough. And then this head injury happened, and it was just, from the family perspective, it was interesting as well. But what happened was I was just sort of deteriorating emotionally and stuff. And then 3 weeks later, my mum took me to the hospital and checked me. And they looked in my eyes and they were like, oh shit, we need to admit you straight away. And they put me under observations for a week, right? What they saw is, like, I've got really big blood vessels in my eyes. I think quite naturally, like, I'm different physically, you know, how we are unique and stuff. But they thought it was like a ruptured blood vessel in my brain, right? And so they put me in observation. I had CAT scans and all the MRIs and stuff like that. And it was interesting because this was 3 weeks later and stuff. And the author Roald Dahl came through.
Yeah.
And I got an autograph book from it, like Revolting Rhymes, like not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or anything. I got Revolting Rhymes, right?
That's so funny.
But he's a bit of a dodgy. He was dodgy. He was friends with Gary Glitter, who's pedophile and all this sort of shit. So yeah, it was just interesting. He was 98, I think. He didn't last too long, but you know, he wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and some other pretty amazing books. And there was this book about him being a fighter pilot in World War II that I really loved. Yeah, he was in World War II as a fighter pilot. So it's just funny, like, you know, you don't know the opportunities you have before you and stuff. It just set up that interesting synchronicity, right? So yeah, I was under observation for a week, but eventually 2 years later I went to the chiropractor and had x-rays and saw it, and he cracked me, and it was just like on since 15. So I really enjoy the chiropractor. Like, some things they do is, like, if you get one that does the body, it's like they pressure points and then they test your arms, like for muscle strength. And it's like, I worked out through allergies. Like, they have these vials of stuff. There's different chiropractic modalities, but the one I like is when they crack you big time, and the muscle testing is really interesting. It's just fascinating how the body works when you touch points. So yeah.
So, I'd heard some bad stories about them, and I always think of Dr. Nick. Like, I always would think of Dr. Nick off The Simpsons because of the stories I'd heard. And so anyway, I went into this local one, and I sat down to have the initial consult, and she had a Louise Hay book on a table, about healing the body. I forgot the name of it, I can't remember, but I was like, okay, so she's into the all the other stuff, holistic, so that was a good sign. She's been amazing since.
Yeah, you've had a fair few injuries and stuff, right? So you're lucky to be here.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Yeah, had a weird, tried to get run off the road last week. It's like, all right, still here. Keep going.
Well, it's interesting. My last week, my whole exchange went down after I had some body work. So I actually redid it all, but it's interesting. I had in my inner right thigh, I had this issues come up, like itchy skin and stuff like that. And that came up like 3 or 4 days ago. And I was like, okay, this is a bit interesting and stuff. And I think this is a bit of a metaphor of how it is for me, and it's more so right now. And this might be more of a metaphor of how it's always been for you and stuff, is that you imagine, like, you get sort of those little skin issues from an attachment or something like that, or some entity, and it's like, why have I got this in my inner right thigh? Like, I haven't been doing anything more. I've driven my mother's car and stuff like that, but I clear her and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, like I said, I went to my food place, and broccoli, I have very simple foods that I eat, and broccoli is like one of the main things. And I just love, like, getting the right broccoli, going to all the different stalls and finding the best. You imagine going through like rows and rows of market stores with all different farmings, and they brought it all together, and you can just select the best one. It's like a real luxury. And I'm a food whisperer, you know what I mean? I just know what...
On your way, like, you tune into it all on your way past?
Well, I tune in, but I also feel it for the freshness and just the energy. And, like, you know, if it's fresh, it's not soft, it's really firm and stuff. But I can just tell, like, even, like, on the stalks of broccoli, they have purple bits as well, which is medicinal. I learned that from another ally and stuff. But, so it's just... I'm getting to how I just completely forgot and left one of my core ingredients on the ground, right? And it's like, I haven't done that. It just doesn't happen, right? So like I said, I went for body work last week that was very profound, and I felt literally like myself again, and I was clearing the shit out of everything and that. And then the exchange went down the next day, right? And I'll get to that. But because something was coming big through, okay? And so I got in my peak, and then I got, we're going to mess you up sort of thing. When I really get peak, it's like something comes in and tries to derail it, whether via whatever means, you know? It's very tough to me to maintain my really peak state. Even though I'm like generally pretty good, I know when I'm really like, I'm in seeing everything mode, and I'm just like, I see it all, and I get that little glimpse of, I've been sitting on something for a month, going back a month, like say when you're saying in going back, and I haven't said it, and that's where I'm sort of brewing tonight and stuff with you. But so yesterday I went to redo my bodywork and stuff, and like I said, there was solar flares, and I'd done a few things and stuff, and I was being a bit cautious with my body and getting myself back 100%, just seeing how I felt. Plus I'd done a video, like I've actually made it. That's why I was a bit vague with you, because I was like, I would rather get it done. And I got it done early in amongst all this stuff. Like Emotional Mastery Part 9, I did a really good job. So that I've actually uploaded, and it's ready to go, sort of thing, rather than me doing it until 11 in the morning tomorrow or overnight. So but yeah, it was interesting, because what I'm getting to is I was feeling really freaking scattered, all right, and I was making mistakes and stuff, and you know, there's all these variables like X9 and X7 solar flare coming through, messing with people, and all the uncertainty in the world, and war amping up, and all this sort of shit, right? And storms and weather's charged quite particularly negatively, and all this sort of stuff. So it was very hard to isolate everything. And I'm saying about this thing on the inside of my right thigh, which like something was attached, and it's like, what the hell? Anyway, just before the bodywork, going into the center, like I'm very random, like I would rather just rock up and do it. But this time I tried to strategize it a bit and get there the right time and just plan it. I was very 50-50 of whether I even want to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
But I chose. I was like,
With all
nah,
this other stuff
like
going
let's
on.
get proactive with my body right now with everything going on. And I'm even thinking about going to sacred sites and stuff like that. Does that make sense? Like I've had all these variables of an opportunity to do it, and I've just pulled back and been very conservative. And anyway, just before I had the body work at about this time yesterday and stuff, going into the center, I ran into someone. The thing jumped on me on my thigh then, all right? So I could feel where it came from. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But the way I am, it's like, you know, I'm pretty grounded, and it's no offense to her, it's tough, but it's just like things are being set up, and I'm being very cautious in that. But what I'm getting to about me of feeling this thing through 3 or 4 days before and not having a coordinate of what's going on, I'm usually very much in the moment, solid 3D on my game sort of thing, right? But it's like just being so ramped up, epic, engaged to do things at a high level sort of thing. I'm getting those things really ripple back through time if they're set up and all that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, and have no coordinates of it. So I'm sure this is what's going on with you as well, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's like the stuff that when I was going through it on Friday was like things had already happened. Like I was feeling it in the moment, that like after the fact, but it hadn't caught up here in the reality yet. Like I think I briefly mentioned about the lag. Yeah, my concern, one of my concerns is that having just that lag, and that's where that sort of bit of caution I was coming from that as well. Like I could feel that these big moves had been made and things happen, but I was like, if all the like retreat orders haven't filtered down yet, there's still things going on around here to be careful of. Yeah. So it's kind of like not exactly what you're saying, but kind of similar with that time out, being out.
You mentioned something about, I don't even know, like I wouldn't know which email it was in. Like I said, I lost an email of yours with all the times when you're available. Like, where is it? Like struggling just to find an email, you know? But
I think there was a big timeline, like shift in between that, which is what, like, I don't know if that has any effect, but there was something that happened. Could be a few things.
But I think it's quite interesting because I think in your just being present, I think you've been observing a lot that's going on around me. Would that be the case? Just knowing it, like just from being you?
Oh yeah, you've been in my awareness a lot. Like I've had to just continuously sort of clear it, like clear. And then the other weekend when you, well, it must have been last weekend, Sunday. We've had a couple of, Sunday it must have been. And you just came out of the other two sessions, working on the other two. There were like that.
That was 2 weeks ago. That was 2 weeks ago, I think.
All that weekend, all three of you were on my mind that weekend, and then all that stuff was going on with the hurricane. So
that was last weekend because I on my Friday I worked really late until 6 a.m. and then I had to go do a few things, and that's where I did the body work. That was the last Friday of September.
Yeah.
And then
after that.
I got home, I just sat down and I needed to help someone, and I hadn't had any integration time, and had to help someone else around me as well because they were in the thick of it, what was going on in the US.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get integration or relax, like I just helped them, and then I had a bit of a downtime, and then I helped someone else. But what was going on is the moment that they emailed me 4 hours or 5 hours before, I healed them, but I did the healing 6 hours later, and they're like, what did you do, and all this sort of stuff. As soon as they reached out to me, it healed them because I was in their awareness, all right? But it took me 6 hours to get to them because I was just like, and then after that I healed myself, and it was like, wow, my healing on me, like it was a bit like, remember how we did that session and you were you recognized like Earth was being attacked and it was going after the women and it was in your emotional body sort of thing, you know, like I gave you that metaphor of, okay, take off your energy body and put it in a big 22D washing machine and wash it for everyone and do it as a big like vortex for all the violations. It was interesting, just like I didn't feel like I could have been alright without the body work, but I just had a really magical sort of healing because a lot has been going after my right arm, which I think you've been perceiving, alright? That's what I'm sort of alluding to. And this healing really shook it up and broke it free. And then I was really, really feeling 100% in my body. And then I cleared me after these, and it was like, holy cow, I was good, but I'm getting so much more. And I cleared like a whole, I think through all my energy bodies, there was all this, you know, that image I've got? I'll show you the image quick. Just let me get to it because it will help see the mechanics, because I think you're aware of this. It just gives you a frame of reference. I use this layered one quite often, and I could do a better job, but ideally it will help you right now. I've been meaning to do a different one of this.
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
You know, the energy layers with all the red stuff in different layers? I realized there was, even if it was done then, sort of not long before with all this stuff going on, but the metaphor for me this last month has been trying to really grind me down, all right? And honestly, it was very parallel to what happened when I made Galactic History 2 with Andrew. Like I was being grinded down for 9 months to try and take me out, all right? And so that's how big it's been without even knowing it. And getting the pattern, what I was getting is there was some big architecture thing behind all this, going through all the people to really say, go up my arm and stuff like that, all right? And this is what I think you were picking up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I'll just show you another image. You know, the anti-god sort of thing that I do? I'll get you that layered one. I'm getting a bit out there. Hard to like work with a keyboard and like look at pictures and what am I looking for? So, because I'm not really wanting to get out of the flow of what I'm saying, because I'm brewing to something.
Yeah.
And I guess even in this video that you haven't seen at the moment, Emotional Mastery Part 9, I did a really good job. Like I knocked it out of the park. What I explain in that is I actually work on emotional intelligence. And I say emotional intelligence because, like I said, the way I remember things is by the emotional effect of how that impacted me. Like, wow, that was just genius. That just had a profound impact on me. I love that, and I'd never forget that feeling of that. It's like, I don't know, you're in hot climates and stuff, so I like gelati, right? And lemon gelati, so it's very tangy and zesty and very refreshing. So I love lemon gelati, right? So I remember what that feeling of having lemon gelati in my mouth feels like, the coldness and the tanginess and the sweetness and the sour and all that together. So I just love that experience, that feeling of what it does to your body. So I think we all operate on emotional intelligence without knowing it, and we're governed by the feelings things give us. And so they're coordinates. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
So that's the emotional intelligence. And everything has a subtle variance. You listen to rap versus orchestral music, they all have a different vibration sort of thing, and they have a different effect on us. So we all know the different styles, like we like this or we don't like that, right? So to me, there's a lot more in emotional intelligence and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a big theme of not working by intellect, but feeling intellect sort of thing. And I think it's a big, like, letting go, jumping out like parachuting from a plane, of letting go of the intellect and trusting the feel sort of thing. But the emotional intelligence is where it's at. Particularly, like, my observation is, say, someone like you with your talents, you just do it naturally without even knowing. It's just a part of your mechanism that, oh, that's right, yeah, now you say it, I do, right? But yeah, what I was getting to is this anti-God thing. I've got that image that I haven't used for a little while.
Yeah.
But, you know, the big collectives behind, like the big apex beings behind, say, apparatuses, or when I say collective, just like you imagine a school of jellyfish sort of thing, entities that can be multi-D that go after people. So there can be those apex sort of anti-gods, which are the purple, and then the reds are the collectives that go after us all this. So I think what was brewing was there was some pivotal, I don't even want to say work, but say outcome that, say, I am a part of, that's unfortunately still perceived through time somehow. And so the ripple back is that, oh shit, there's a brick wall coming for us. Who's behind this frickery? Oh, it's Hodge again. So how can we get to Hodge? Oh, we're going to go through everyone. And there's a lot of people that are really targeted and messed up, unfortunately, and they're sort of in the crossfire, so to speak. So does that make sense? And then it's going at me. So this is what I'm alluring to, that you're picking up, I feel. Does that make sense on one level? And so if I just, well, do you have anything to perceive on that? Because I'll offer some more, all right?
Well, I've had, before I just do that, so
it's like you're always sort of, you're in your own way a massive threat, and you have the ability to see. And to me, it's like, if you mess me up and you break away from me, it's like, I'll be totally invested with you. I want you to be a superstar. I see your talents with everyone that comes through, right? And I'm here to sort of help you get to that level of being a superstar, because one of the comments I've made, I don't know if I've said it publicly or to you, but it's like, if we have 100,000 people want a session tomorrow, where are they going to go? I can't deal with 100,000 people. I'm trying to build up a whole epic armada of people that people can refer to and go to and get help. And you know what I mean? Like, it's like I'm trying to build up the infrastructure of epic people to be able to handle what Earth, the universe, and humanity need, right? And it's just been, you know what it's been like for me. Everyone's tried to destroy me and control me and hook me into their bullshit and sexual distortions and all that crap. And then
that
these
stuff comes in all the time. That stuff comes in all the time. But you can, I can read the energy behind it, and it's like, if you, I guess, studied you well enough, or just, that's weird, listen to your videos, okay, is that a less weird way of saying that? If you've just listened to what you've said and take it for the face value, which you've said a lot as well when you're having all those people saying you were in their dreams and stuff like that, all that stuff. And then not like, I've got all those reference points of being like all these crazy times I've had through my life. So to have those perspectives and then know when to ignore the inserted stuff.
Yes.
And read the energy behind it. Like really what these people are doing that are falling for it are just showing that they can't read, they haven't got to a level yet where they're able to read the energy behind an insertion, or this is Andre, or this is that. Because like I take you for face value what you say in your videos where you're like, I'm not going to come into your dreams, blah, blah, blah. So if there's stuff happening, there's shenanigans happening there. And it's also a reflection of maybe a lack of research on people's behalf where they maybe aren't as aware of how much stuff is going on here, like the scope of a lot of it and how convoluted and like messed up so much of it is, that I just hold on to your word of being like, this is what I do and this is how I act, and that's your word. And then I also have a bit of arrogance and ego behind my own self in thinking, if I hold that, and I know there's things about like negative things of people doing that when you hold a projection of someone, but if I'm holding a honourable, like, you know, strong, positive thought of that because of what you've said in your videos publicly, then if I'm like this big, powerful being, then I'm holding you to that as well on my end, sort of thing. So it also helps when the little like things try to infiltrate the mind space, mental field and stuff. It's like you've got to sort of taunt these things back, like that. It comes up all. It happens a lot. So it's just, I guess, an exercise in training the power of your mind. I don't even know.
Honestly,
it was like
the core variable of those things is when someone's doing misguided stuff and they get busted, then they try and destroy you. Okay. So they get busted and then they're fearful of being seen for what they're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, see, the difference with you is your integrity is absolute, right? So then you don't doubt yourself and then you trust yourself, and then you can perceive accurately because you're not got vested interests, all right? And then if you're sort of perceiving me, whether you can trust me and seek me out for help, or whether I've got issues or whatever, and so you trust yourself and you know where you're at, and it's like, at the end of the day, like, I'm probably going to hate the person that's going to help me the most. So even if you're going through that, you know the mechanics. Like I said, it's reverse, because I talk about the contrarian view all the time. You got to flip it. So you just flip everything a trillion times and you work out the muscle testing sort of thing that I do, right? So you know the way because it's obvious, and you've not skipped steps, right? But the big thing is, like, you don't get how integrity based you are in yourself, and so you've got that reference of you, that know thyself, and then you know if you're off. And the unfortunate thing for you is you're just so mind-blowingly beyond most people around you, and the majority of people on the planet, let alone the universe. It's like no one's going to be able to give you a reference of you. And it's like, yeah, it's like, but you haven't even been trying, because you're just like, I'm still working out to, you're discovering all these things. Like you said, you've never been to a chiropractor. You've gone for the first time in a month. And it's like, holy cow, like, look at this. And does that make sense? So you've got the integrity, the authenticity foundation. So you're not distorting, you're not worried about what people see you as, because you've got nothing to hide, right? And then you're not distorting everything and corrupted, because the vast majority of these people, they've got like, they think they're very safe because they've got these very hidden aspects that are vested interests, or they're working with reptilians or the ET species, and they think they're so superior we can't see them. But it's like, now they're like, oh frack,
Yeah.
We're totally exposed. They're going to bust us. So we're a threat to their maintaining their illusion and delusion sort of thing. Does that make sense? And they never anticipated being busted. So they're totally exposed, and that's why they're coming at me, because I'm training people say you up that can see through all the bullshit. And now we're at 22D. It's like, oh shit, we can see you way down there doing all your frackery, you know? And then they're like, these mystical fucking dragons are coming and messing with me. It's like, yeah, because they're 1000D and you're evil and you're busted, because we know that you've stolen codes or you've hacked into me and trying to steal my kundalini or divert my life path to be a match to you or some shit, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, the thing is, I'm very generous, right? And I'll invest totally in someone and invest in them and stuff. But then there's always going to be this, you know, that Yoda letting Luke go into the cave to fight his own Darth Vader, right? There's going to be this potentially showdown where you have to take a hit, or like people are going to have to like really ball up, like I say, spiritually ball up and face their own music sort of thing and overcome it. It's not something I can handle like you with or hold your hand with and stuff. You have to go through it. And I don't want to use labels like Dark Night of the Soul, but it's like there's a point where you're going to have to really not be on training wheels, and you're going to have to trust yourself and your own perceptions. And you know, if you go into the multi-D stuff a bit like what we're saying, it's going to be unfamiliar, and most people are codependent on others. That's why all this collective bullshit and wanting to be in groups and shit, they want to be nurtured, and being in a group, it's like, I won't target you, I'll target the whole group. So they want to be protected by the group rather than exposed as an individual and stuff. But it's like, there's a point where you have to become a perception adult and, you know, take responsibility of what you're perceiving and that. And then you see what's going on, and it's horrible. And then you realize how few there are, and I get it, all right? I totally get it. And that's where I've done that years and years and years and years and years ago, right? And I've been challenged like no one else has been challenged with all these people and stuff. And then I've always sort of felt like these guys are vaster than me. It's like, you know, I've got to believe in their bullshit, you know? And then it was like I said, that thing that happened with Andrew just totally flipped things. And then say with like GH Academy last year, just like, holy shit, now I just got these variables to see it, and then I have to see what I see. And it's not pleasant seeing what truly is going on. And most people don't really want to have the responsibility of the awareness, right? So, yeah, it's just I appreciate all this. But then some people, who knows, 5, 2, 3% come out of it. Maybe 15 or whatever. Who knows? But then even failing in that has a valid purpose. And then people might be going through it again and realize, to me, and this is a big thing, it's like, I'm never going to not trust people just because of all these frackers in the past that have done all this shit. I'm not going to sacrifice that privilege of having someone to trust because of what someone bad does. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, I give them a chance, and it's like, we need to go like 5 years ago, and we're behind the 8 ball. So I've invested a lot more in people and stuff, and it is what it is now, right? So does that all make sense?
Yeah, where did that go?
I don't know.
Where did we go with that? And the perceptions of, like the through time perceptions of something like that was meant to happen or was going to happen that didn't happen, sort of thing, is how I'm kind of interpreting that. Which I guess happens when all these timelines merge and stuff, like when these big ones come together. If someone else is still on the timeline that ideal situation happened, they're still seeing that. That's why it's so important to just be in the now moment as well.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Because you hold that energy in place to be pulled to, but it's like, no.
Yeah.
Why would you hold a crap thing in place, like a shit thing in place?
I guess why I gave you that big perspective is you're pretty amazing and you're making a lot of progress and you're stepping up and all that, right? And who knows what, I have an idea what you could do, but it's like, you have to see it for yourself, right? And so you've been one of the epic allies that have been in the trenches with me. We've done a lot of stuff, right? And so I'm just giving you a big wisdom download of discernment mechanics, right? and we're not here to please people, right? It's like, that's why I have very tight boundaries with my time and stuff, because it's like I could be allies with people, but they don't have the defense in them to be able to handle what might come at them relative to being a proximity to their life, right? So I do it for the safety of everyone else, because it's like I'm ready to go 24/7, and I've said that for 10 years. I might joke and all that, and like I might seem disarmed, but I'm never disarmed. I'm ready to go any moment, and I pride myself on being 24/7. Like, that's why I do the sessions all through the night and stuff in 10 hours. Like, it's all like my psychic stamina that I've cultivated, and it seems like pretty natural, but it's like, it's one of my talents, you know? And so, yeah, you've got all these, maybe they're a bit raw, like maybe you don't realize you do it and stuff like that, but you've done your best with everything. And yeah, it's just really interesting, because ultimately what I was getting to about the anti-god stuff and that Friday last week, right, is then the Saturday happened, right? And I got really good and clear in that, and then the next day the exchange went down, but it was like when storms were coming through, so we had this big change, and I was brewing to do a video on my Saturday, and I woke up and it was down here in my area of the world, if we have a change of weather they come from like South Africa, from Perth across, from west to east. Does that make sense? So in the northern hemisphere, at our, I don't know what parallel it is, they go from east to west, right? But down here they go from South Africa across Perth and that. And if they're highs, then they go anti-clockwise, right? From west to east. And so the edge of the high, it comes from the north, which is in the desert. So we get a lot of very dry, warm air from the desert on the end of high weather systems, which are heat waves. So we had the first sort of heat. It was only 26, but it was like definitely that summer sort of 40 degrees sort of environment. So we had a lot of dust and stuff. So I was getting a lot of histamine reaction and stuff from the air and that, which it felt very charged. Like it felt like there was a big spell with the weather worldwide. Does that make sense? And so I was brewing to this show, and then like I usually am playing catch up, and I do it right at the end of the day before dark and stuff, and we got rain like about 3 o'clock, and I was just like, nah, I'm not going to bother. So I tooled down again to not do a show when I was ready to, and all my week last week I'd brewed to create 4 days of space so I could just chill and do clips and then do a really easy, relaxed show. And I was doing healings like all night, like I did 6 in the morning, and then I was doing it till 3 in the morning sort of thing, and didn't have much downtime. So I was sort of forcing it in a way. So there was a sort of potential setup for failure if I tried to contort myself into it with this weather as well. And so I just thought, no, I'm just going to step back. And then the shit came through the internet, all right? And it blew some plugs. It was like, why is my internet not working and stuff? And I could just feel it. It was literally, you know, what I said about the setup grinding me down to take me out sort of thing. So I could feel it in the house sort of thing. So back in, I'll give you another coordinate, all right? Back in October 2018, I was sitting at my computer and stuff. I live on a street with houses and stuff. We're not remote like you and that. So there was a power brownout in my street. So there was like a big spark out on the power lines out in the street. And I was like, okay. So we had a blackout for like 5 seconds. And then it came on, lower frequency, half energy. Like when a brownout isn't a full recovery of the power, it's like half the power. So the lights will dim, which is weird anyway. Yeah. And then I was sitting in my chair, and it's interesting because I'm having a lot of Google wanting it's even doing it now, like it's YouTubers wanting verification of who I am every like 10, 15 minutes now. And so it's wanting to know where my coordinates are. So what happened in 2018 is I was sitting in my chair and I got triangulated where my head was, and there was an effort to give me a stroke or an aneurysm sitting in my chair when the power came on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there was an effort in 2018 October to take me out when I was just sitting in my chair, a bit like this sort of thing went on last weekend, and then it blew the power, and then it's never happened. Like the internet came back on, and my ISP said, "Oh, we got internet issues. We'll let you know when it's good." And I got an email at 8 o'clock, and then it came up a little bit at 9, and then internet was down for 16 hours till the next day. So the whole internet provider, like the exchange, the telco provider exchange, all went down when this stuff came through. So it was like a big entity came through the internet to try and get to me, and it went after like my mum and stuff. So I had to heal her, I had to smudge the house, and I had no internet. Does that make sense? That happened right after I got myself really on my game, all right?
Yeah, okay.
So that's when I emailed you after, all right?
Yeah. Crazy.
So what I'm just offering you is a few variables that have gone on around me, because I actually worked out how to do something really big, okay? And I haven't said anything to anyone, and I was like, I could do it on my own, all right? And but I was thinking, nah, it might be really, to me it's like I don't need to do it on my own, but it might be fun with SuperA, but it's like also about like a thank you for you because of all you've done as well to be a part of it. And so does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Because we've done a lot of stuff together, right? So we did the 12D Earth last year, which was the grid, and the whale came. And like that's when we were just like, how naive were we? 12D, hey, you know?
Yeah.
How do you feel about 12D now compared to 22?
Well, it's just the metaphor for working our way up, and my way up to stuff, and like feeling into things, and you couldn't have just gone straight from that to this. Like it's that working your way through.
Right. It's just, to me, it's just crazy that, say, it feels good to be able to, in this free territory of trusting what I'm getting and offering new, totally original stuff, right? It's like, man, it would have been easier if I just worked this out 10 years ago and we did it then, you know what I mean? But it's like, you know how thorough the journey is to be so on it now, you know? Every T has been crossed, every I has been dotted, every sort of angle has been approached with different people to be able to get this conclusion. And often the conclusion is they're all been infiltrators and undercover, and they've not been here to actually bring about this. They've been, you know, they've been the opposite of that, sabotaging it and hindering us and delaying it and all that. Because if they were like us, then we would know this, right? It's like, why don't we know this stuff? Well, all of that has to be true. Or if they're not bad, they're faking it, right? They don't know. They're just like, and this is a very like versus the infiltrators versus just faking it and being very charismatic. It's very low possibility versus the infiltrator. We've been on the radar, not knowing it, sort of thing. That's the way I've been feeling.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's just interesting how the journey has been to get to this point where we're just feeling, for me, I just feel so confident in what I know, like the mechanics. I say, like, I've got to trust the mechanics. There's no one else like validating them. Everyone's not wanting to step up and be behind the scenes, and there's this bit of a fear of being exposed rather than stepping up. And anyway, but
well, that goes back to the lack of research. Like for all that, there's a lot of these people that have been in this like paranormal space for decades and decades and decades, like way longer before I was born, sort of thing. And the scope, it's still like the scope of it is not understood or wanted to be looked at, maybe because it is so huge. Because for me, not like thinking about how big that scope is, you are exposed. You are. There's no hiding from stuff. So it's kind of like, well, what are you going to do with that? Just you have to own it.
Yeah.
Get out there and walk it.
Yeah.
It's sane. Well, I feel like I am anyway. Just sane.
To me, like I said, and I realize it's like, if they were superior to us, then none of this stuff would be needed, right? Does that make sense when I say that?
Yes.
So they're inferior to us. They've got to create all this construct that limits us because we're superior, right?
Right.
And so why don't we just own that superiority? Oh, okay. Voila, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I ended up getting to a bit like on last Friday, and I was in that sort of, it was a bit of a like play, what is it when you playing poker and you're like bluffing? Is that what it is? When you're like sort of bluffing, and it was this sort of kind of standoff kind of thing, and it was like, well, you just have to strut your stuff and walk it.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be under that construct forever until you bust out of it. So it was like interesting to move through, and then with lots of things changed after that.
Hello, Epic Bright.
Hello. So thank you. Yeah, I'm good. So thank you for reaching out.
So yeah, you're
Thank you.
welcome, right? So I was just giving you a lot of coordinates as well. I guess it's deliberately a bit scrambled, but you got encryption codes, and it's more so I'm giving you a big download, and it's not that I'm just testing to see where you are in a way, but
yeah, cool.
I think you're just like absorbing it all and you're forming your own pattern. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Because I think like what I was getting to is it seemed like you're a bit on my case in a good way to make sure I was okay with this stuff like over this last month, because I think your intuitive sense was like perking up. There's a quickening going on here, a bit like Highlander, like what is going on here? And I'm a variable in that with you, obviously, because I do what I do and you know me, and it's like we've done a lot in the past, but it was like I think there's been something brewing, and so you're on a bit of an alert, on call, like I said, the 24/7, and so you've been perceiving things and all this. Does that make sense? And I'm just saying there's been this real, before the equinox, it was like ramped up. There was some solar flares the weekend before the equinox, and I've been playing catch up. Usually I'm out in front of it, and so it felt like a couple of those solar flares, like there was one on the week before I'll just get the date correct. So it was the 21st. I think it was about the 15th or 16th. There was an X4.5 that was really big, and that was quite distorted. And I think on that weekend, the 20th or something, there was an X3, and because I weren't able to get to doing Earth pranics, I think they were used to weaponize and even go into that weather system. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so you're on the ball, but without some variables, and I was being very probably cryptic and not explaining stuff, and then I wasn't public. Like I did the emotional mastery part 8, and then I was busy, so I wasn't accessible. So say if I've got clients, I'm generally going to be in passive mode helping them out. It's not about the stuff going at me and all that, which it always can be, but it's like I don't ever talk about what's coming in the future, because I let it play out, and then with as minimal sort of variables aware in that. And so I was dealing with some pretty challenging things for certain people out there and that, and I sort of put the clients and people first rather than doing the bigger stuff, and so I missed a couple of Earth pranics, I felt, and so I was playing catch up with that. And so I think like that's where the effort to grind me down was. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you were picking up like they were going for my right arm again and stuff, and that's why I'm saying about this anti-God sort of high-level collective sort of thing that's behind a lot of these people as well, like messing with a lot of people. Can you appreciate what I'm sort of saying now?
Yeah. Yep.
What were you perceiving? You sensed, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, that there was something going for me. Does that make sense?
Like with the arm?
Yeah.
Well, it came up. It came up with. I've got some other stuff just to add about being on guard, but I'll come back to that. It came up in the session that I joined you for with your session.
Yeah, the client where we did GSF client. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had felt it in that, and I had been tracking it through a few people that had come to me, and in particular one that I had done right when I started the gut stuff, and not having the awareness of like what a spiritual business is and what that means when you start to materialize medicine. And, did this like phone consult. It wasn't even a phone consult. It was a quick phone call just to see, because I didn't really know how to explain what I was doing and things. And I just all of a sudden had these products that were doing their thing and not being really thorough with what that meant. So I sort of fell into this phone call and then guided the client through that, and then felt that was the first time I felt that right arm, and it always presents in the same way, and it was right after all this like shedding stuff was all in the media and stuff. All this like was going on like 2 years ago, maybe even 2.5 years ago. So all that stuff was really being talked about, and effects of all that. And then a couple of nights later, I got whacked in my back, I think, through that client.
So this was a couple of weeks ago?
That was when I first felt this similar type of energy. That was a couple of years ago.
Yes.
So that, I made medicine for it straight away to like get it out of my system, because it was like a energetic virus sort of thing. Coming up my arm. And then then a couple of weeks ago felt it again, because it's mutated. Like I've felt it work through its mutations when I've been then exposed to different people and clients since then. And
so it's like a big entity behind things, sort of with different sort of tentacles, or
yeah,
like an anti-god sort of collective sort of thing. Yeah.
Yep. And then I hadn't felt it, like it mutated really quickly over a short amount of time for me perceiving it, like working with it. And then
just tell me about this couple of weeks ago, because I've like, where in the back did it affect you?
So then when it came up again a couple of weeks ago, and it starts in my arm, like it. Did it start in my shoulder and work down, or it worked up? It starts towards my hand. And I had, like before in the past when I dealt with it, there was other variables going on, but now these last couple of times, this week when I emailed, and that time a couple of weeks ago, so the last 2 times, there isn't anything else going on around it, like just with the pattern recognition there. So it starts in the hand and creeps and like, creeps up, what's a better word for it? Crawls up the arm, and then
spawns.
Yeah. Yeah. And then this last time it got right up into my shoulder. So it sort of like went the top of my shoulder, right shoulder. And then I've got frequency scrambler medicine and stuff I take for it, and it like wigs out my system to like get it off me, and then I reset my system after that.
Have you had any issue in, say, a lower rib going around to the back of below the solar plexus or anything on the right side?
No.
Because I've had an issue there and it hasn't felt like it's mine. All right.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it's like I've cleared it out and it's reanimating a bit.
I'm
So
right, yep.
I'm just offering that might be some of the mechanics going. Maybe it is you and you can't perceive it.
Yeah, definitely.
Does that
could
make
be.
sense? But what you're getting is there was a predatory aspect to this, I think. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it was hooking into people to get to say sort of us or me and that, right?
Yeah.
And it's violating a lot, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
And it's going, I think it's going through time as well, like it's high dimensional level, and it just, you know, if we get to peak level, then it comes through sort of thing. So, as my right shoulder doesn't like that. So, yeah. So how about this, all right? I'm going to open a pure source spiritual assembly for multiverse resolution, and I'm going to put both myself and you in it, and I'm going to initiate an audit, and I'm going to light 1000D pure source fuse to track all violators of us back, and identify all the violations these violators are doing, and track all the violators of the violators in a lattice and hierarchy of all the violators in the multiverse, all attached to this, benefiting from it, violating us and anyone else on Earth or on the multiverse. And I'm going to light that 1000D fuse and track them all back and blow everything and everyone up. And we're going to take an audit of everyone doing everything and all the victims of this. And I'm going to send the 1000D dragons out to collect them all and dump them into the pure source spiritual assembly for multiverse resolution, where the 10,000 central suns are just ready to fire up and dust everything that gets identified. And everything that's been audited and identified, we're going to create a database that we're going to upload to the 1000D print server farm for all the invoices for 1 trillion times the life force costs that are going to be sent out to all the violators throughout the multiverse and time. So everyone violating us ever, and everyone they're violating is all identified, and they're sent 1 trillion times the life force costs invoice for every violation they've done. So let's just do that now and make this sacred, and we'll put ourselves into this pure source spiritual assembly for multiverse resolution, and 1000D dragons and 10,000 central suns keep an eye on anything trying to get through to us.
Yes.
How does that feel? What are you seeing? I'm getting crowned. Back of right shoulder.
The other two, like when I've been on guard, when talking about being alerted, I've also been on guard of these like two, so my psychologist and the stuff that's been going on with that. So that relationship's come to a conclusion. And it was
inside your left arm.
Yeah, it was weird. So anyway, so that's cool. That just ran its course, so that's fine. But it was definitely something I was monitoring. And then the other thing that happened around the equinox, was the full moon.
The new moon on the second you mentioned was pretty big. I'm getting your upper left thigh.
Yeah, and I met up like
right thyroid.
You know, I've been getting into all this astrology stuff, blah blah blah, and there's this one particular astrologist that I've been monitoring his stuff. Really good, more like with more training with the pattern recognition, identifying sort of things through there. So it's been really good training, but ended up sort of finding myself talking to her, and she ended up putting it. I sort of just got myself into the situation. It wasn't bad or anything, and in her private group, she's put it up in the group, the chat, and so that's fine. I didn't really look ahead and sort of think, you know, is this something I want to do or be public or whatever like that? So that was another thing. Then when that happened, I was really like watching that to see what that was about.
Like a barometer for people trying to entangle you in their stuff.
Yeah. And like I wasn't getting like bad stuff from it, but then also just was like kind of dipping my toe into what was going on, but not really wanting to go there.
But I guess like you went, like your permission wasn't sought, right?
Yeah, and it
was like a violation.
Yeah, it was like.
Why aren't you even asking this? You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I should have known. I sort of just took it on myself as a lesson and a learning. Like I've just scooted through the astrology stuff. I'm sort of backpedaling and a lot of not backpedaling, but I've come out the other side of it, and I'm pulling back from a bit of it now. So it was just interesting, but I definitely felt like I got put on the radar a bit with it.
Okay. I know I've definitely been on the radar. All right.
Yeah. So it's kind of fun, and like, whatever, no harm her, I guess, no harm caused or whatever. Maybe there was.
But I guess like your welfare was not even thought of, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, because I do like I do compare it, but I definitely got a like bounce up against conversations that I've had with you or comments that you've made, and that I had that reference point to come back to, and I was like, well, that was a very different approach to what I've got the reference point for coordinates for in the past. So it's quite interesting as well. It's just like another bloody Hodge 1, world 0, like tick. And it's been really interesting to have those reference points for when those situations come up. So I definitely got that bounce back, and I started to pull back a bit from that area, and just went on to do my own sort of thing. But that was another thing I was on guard about. So yeah, there was you guys popping into my awareness, and then all the interference they try and do with us, like interfering with us getting together.
Well, I was sort of being very vague, but almost last week I was ready to do this and the internet went out, right? So I was really on my game, okay? So I guess like I'm having a bit of an interaction and conversation with you to see what you're getting, right? To see what you're sensing or perceiving about this potential that I've sort of got as well. But I'm just covering a few bases to make sure you're feeling comfortable about it, right? Because I've worked something out, and it was probably a month ago that, there's a lot of shit going on, and it's I was playing catch up with Earth, and so this week you were on the ball. Like I finally eked out some existence, and I shut down and I disconnected, and I told people not to contact me, sort of thing, and I don't want to read emails and all that sort of stuff. And so I was finally able to get to a place where I felt good enough to do the Earth Pranics. And so I did one at 1:45 a.m. on Wednesday morning, I think. No, Thursday morning. Or it was late Wednesday. And then there was an X7 come through. But I did it different this time. I only healed Earth's soul and not the planet. I just focused on her soul. So I see her as like, it was interesting. Pardon me, in the past I've watched Altered Carbon and seen Earth as Goldcrest Falconer, Goldcrest Falconer, like Envoy Queen. But I watched Fifth Element and I saw her as Lilu now. So you know the movie Fifth Element?
Yeah.
I'll rewatch that. That's classic. I was trying to take some clips on it, but they keep copywriting, so the ones that I wanted to use, so that sucked. But so I did like, that was on Wednesday late. All right, I did the first one. That was about 45 minutes, and she was really beaten up. All right, and it was like I could feel the left shin going for her heart. So Team Fracker have been going after Earth's heart. Okay.
Yeah.
But she was definitely really beaten up again. So it was like, it was the last weekend in June that we caught up for a session. That you came through on the Friday.
Yeah.
And then we did the session on the Saturday with not much warning, which ended up checking in on Earth and realizing she wasn't at 22D, all right? So, and then I did that one, and then there was an X7 flare come through, and you were like, oh, I'm thinking of you, Andre, right? And then I was like, nah, let's go back and do it again and be thorough, because it's not my usual pattern. So the very next night, early Thursday again, I did the healing on Earth again, which was interesting. I wasn't aiming to be super thorough, just check her and clear that again, right? And then the X9 came through. So do you have any perceptions on that, just quickly?
Well, I've got a draft still sitting in my email because I get up early, So normally I reply whatever in the mornings, but I had got up, saw that there was an X9. Well, I'd woken up in the night anyway, but I'd started emailing you straight away. Like, first thing was like, what have you been up to? And I didn't, like, because that was my initial response. So I just stopped and went, oh, I was sort of waiting. I was just leaving you sort of to contact me. So there's still a draft sitting in there. So that was my first thought. I was like, okay. So X7, you did that. And then X9 comes through. And then last night I felt like I had a huge big aspect come back to me, which was interesting.
I was tempted to do it again and try and do an X10 and blow up everything, right? But I thought, no, we'll give Team Fracker some respite, right? So
that was nice of you.
No, I was playing with it. It was like, I wonder if we can get an X10, you know?
Yeah.
There's some big solar flares there. I mean, some big sunspots going on in the sun at the moment, but it was just interesting. Hey, like what I'm alluding to is it felt like instead of playing catch up, I was out in front sort of thing, or in the moment sort of thing. And I've had this back issue sort of thing. So I was a bit careful.
Okay.
And maybe that was the collective coming through, the anti-god sort of stuff coming through, going at my right shoulder and into the spine sort of thing. But I'm not sure if it was me or you or someone else, or it was just an overlay. Like, one of the things Captain's worked out is there's a lot of ancient holographic projections on us as well. Like, it's actually holographic, like high density, like high dimensional holographic tech coming at us. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
From the past as well. That's very, very ancient and highly advanced. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've had the been thinking of the Gozer out of Ghostbusters, and also the Mummy. Like, I've had those two energies. Like, ancient, it feels like so old coming up. So holographic though. Okay, well, that's good. That's better.
So I'm just seeing what you're getting, all right? That's all. I'm just wondering what you're perceiving about things. I'm giving you a very abstract sort of data set all over the place. And if you're not, that's so cool. You don't have to. I'm sort of just giving you all the data components to see what I'm getting at, all right? Because say if like in your own way in your journey, I'm saying there's been this like effort to sort of, and it's no offense to anyone else, but it's to grind me down sort of thing, to get me into a vulnerable state, to sort of maybe have a hit, all right?
Okay.
And there were efforts, and I think the parallel is the same for you in your own way. But if you measure yourself, say, a year ago or even 18 months ago versus now, like, you're a different person 10 times over, like infinitely more stronger, right? If you measure yourself.
Yeah.
And these sort of things that we're sort of going through now, if they came at the intensity they're going at the moment, you might have been totally destroyed, right? Whereas now it's like, oh, okay.
Well, I think that last Friday, I think that was the same sort of thing that came at me mid-October last year that I got in hospital, ended up in hospital with. Like, it was that same kind of
strategy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it didn't have any effect.
No.
Or it was like
push through it.
You handled it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So
well done. You're being your usual multi-dimensional, see it all but vague self, right?
Sorry.
No, nothing to apologize for. You're just funny, all right? Because I know you're seeing it all, and you're just trying to interpret it, what you're perceiving in it. How can you, right?
Yeah.
But you're explaining it how you do, and I just get it. Does that make sense? Like, I don't really need the data. I just get you and how you work, and I'm getting what I need from you anyway. But it's just funny, right?
Okay, cool.
Because I know your multi-D is like 99.99% of you, and you're just 0.001, and the 3D is like you're like little toe dipped into the totality of who you are, and trying to work with that, it's like I don't There's no point. You know? Anyway, but I'm just offering potentially a lot of momentum that, say there's something that is brewing that's good, but it's a threat. And so there's a lot of all these variables going on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so if I've got the potential to do healing, then maybe my arm and shoulder has gone after, and then there's this thing in the back sort of thing. So perhaps you just want to do a scan of me quick to see if there's anything been going on. I'm getting my crown as well. Like we're in the order, I'm getting the right inside bicep. So if anything's trying to get to us, they're going to get toasted by the 1,000 dragons and 10,000 central suns now. Does that make sense? Is that secure, do you feel?
Yeah. Yep. All right. Scanning Andre. Oh, my little finger's tingling. That's funny. Oh, right temple.
I'm playing with your technology at the moment, giving you a chance to see what you're getting, all right, in all this.
I'm just sweeping it back at the moment.
Do you see anything in one of my lower ribs on the right side, just below, say, the solar plexus? Getting the right forearm, like the bicep, just above the elbow on the inside. I'm just interested what you perceive with this variable, because I think it could be a coordinate to something that's been messing with a lot, and I'm getting top of my crown as well.
Okay.
Like I could clear all this in that. I'm just interested to play with your technology for a sec.
Okay. So I'm just sweeping and feeling it in my body.
Yeah.
If anything comes up, which is not much. In the right rib, it's kind of like a plug. It's like a round ball. What is that? Like a resistor? I don't think there's much to it.
Yeah, just
Like,
to distort the frequencies
yeah,
a little
it's
bit.
just so it doesn't, like the meridians don't flow through, sort of thing.
Yeah. Because I think one of the things you said, I started trying to look through the emails for your exact linguistics, but I think what you said is there was some aspects out there, whether it's a collective or anything, realizing they were after DNA sort of thing, and they were losing it, so their ability to exist here was vulnerable. Does that make sense? You said something about some aspects out there that were vulnerable, I think. It wasn't exactly those linguistics, but they were dependent on us and our codes and stuff, and they realized that they'd lost them and they weren't able to get them back.
Like being able to hook into source? Is it to do with that?
I'm not sure.
DNA.
I really wish I could give you the reference, but you just
my God.
put it out there a little bit.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay.
DNAs.
Do you feel you need any clearing? I'll do a quick one, alright? Just let me go get some water.
Okay.
Alright? And you can check me at the same time, because we'll just be thorough and then we'll get into some other stuff, alright?
Okay.
So you're not a burden or anything. It's like maybe you'll see other stuff when I do this with you, alright? So just give me 2 seconds. I'm going to get some water, alright? Do you want some water or anything?
I've got some, thank you.
Alrighty. Are you alright?
Yep.
How are you feeling?
Good.
So I'm going to make you laugh here, all right?
Okay.
So imagine this hour and a half of chat or whatever. I've been doing it's funny. I've been watching there's this particular guy, he's a bit more mainstream and stuff, but he's cool. He's had a couple of really high level hackers on his show. And I've been doing like a perception penetration test with you in a way with all this information I've been giving. Do you feel that?
Yeah, that's
I'm sort of
standard,
testing
Andre.
you where you're at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's standard with you. Yeah.
So, so on one level I'm doing that, all right? Because I don't think you're 100%, okay? Which is all right. On another level, there's a lot of security with this as well. So you not knowing is actually okay. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
So I'm playing with you, but I don't think you're perceiving. Would you honestly see that? Can you appreciate that about yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're really good, but you're not perceiving, right? So what's going on there? Okay.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking that you should instinctively know a lot of what I'm sort of coming to, all right?
Okay.
And your instincts aren't working as well, all right? So let's just check, all right?
Okay.
We'll be thorough and just do this pranic, and then we'll get on to what I was going to do, all right? So I don't think it will take very long. We'll just do it. And so, yeah, you comfortable?
Yes.
So I'm just going to sweep. Getting your right shoulder inside, right foot arch at the front. Getting a lot of your chest under the arm, left armpit, left elbow. Getting your cheeks, top of your cheeks, like top of the limbs on your side of your face. Left foot arch, back of the medulla. Oops. Back of the neck, back of the calves at the top. Outside right shin. Front right shoulder. Crown. Lower left leg just above the foot. Right groin. Pain on the inside of the right eye. So sweep the back. Getting crown, getting left shin, left cheek, left temple, above the ear, a lot of left side, left shin, the knuckle on the left thumb, close to the hand. Upper left hamstring, lower right back, outside right calf, shin area, at the top. Left side of forehead, top of the left foot, top of the right foot, lower right leg around the, just above the ankle. Getting the front arch of the left foot under the heel, so left shin, left foot, back of the medulla, neck. Do you want to just make sure you're in a 22D bubble and myself, we're in the audit so no one can look in and stuff? Do you want to just check if anything's been trying to look in, observe us? Do the front spleen.
Oh, I got like this little like moly thing in my bottom left. Get rid of that. Right, 22D.
Getting left bicep, getting left groin, left wrist, left armpit at the front, top of left foot, inside right forearm, right lower neck, right top of foot, right bicep. Left foot arch at the front, your base, fair bit. Left tailbone. Left heel, ankle. perceiving anything? The back of
No.
spleen. So do you want to just do an order over your codes, your life force, your kundalini, your flash and recovery tech?
Life force. Life force is at 70, so I'll bring that up. I've been checking this most days.
Yeah. Right shoulder blade. Upper sternum, right waist, below the ribs. And getting all your solar plexus, heart area at the front. Doing the back spleen, outside right thigh, left foot arch, right waist.
Alright, Kundalini, re-establish codes, all back. Going back.
Right bicep. I got a crack in my back.
Ooh.
I'm getting front solar plexus spleen area. Work on your tailbone. Back of the right elbow.
That stuff I felt in my spine just came out. Top of my spine's gone.
Getting back your neck as well. There might be something digging into your neck. Something popped out before, I didn't say it. On the right side, but now I'm feeling the left.
Left, yeah, I'm feeling left.
Like in the mid neck sort of vertebrae. I think it's C, like 3 or 4, maybe. Front spleen. Right shoulder. To the back of the medulla.
That's been a lot better. I haven't felt that since I've started at the chiro. I was getting a lot of pressure there.
Just whack my mic, so top of the left foot. Left side of the collarbone where it joins the sternum. Back of the left foot arch around the left wrist. Left thyroid on the side. You're feeling pretty clear. Your heels. Back of the right knee. Right neck, right groin. Left shoulder blade just popped like in the middle. Getting lower left shin. Outside left bicep. So do your parasympathetic. Can you just do an audit on the life force codes, kundalini, flash and recovery tech on me as well? Just see what you get.
Order 85.
Left thigh, that right thigh spot I'm feeling.
Recovery neck 100. 90, 95, 100. Recovery.
Just gonna get my jump off.
Codes 80, 90, 50, 100. Kundalini. Delaney's good. Up to everything 100.
So what you're seeing is I'm pretty good, so it's not
Yep.
me, right?
Yep.
It's something else. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Right foot arch. So I'm getting above the left foot arch, sorry. I was getting left heel and left foot arch, top of the right foot, above the right ear and the crown, right jaw. So inside right thigh big time. Just clearing your parasympathetic, like right in the middle. Getting between your thighs, but right in the inside the right one, about halfway up. Doing your parasympathetic. It's interesting. It's the same spot that I felt yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you feel it?
No. But I thought the same thing.
So to the back of the right hip. So you're feeling good?
Yeah. I've done a couple of yawns. Not because I'm tired, just because
No. Getting energy above the left ankle. So how about, why don't you initiate an audit over the last 2 months over both of us? And see what the audit gets from all the violations.
In August.
Bottom of the right left knee. So put everything that's gone on to us in the audit and see what you get, alright?
Okay.
Getting left shoulder, bottom of the left neck, on the side, around the right ankle. Left foot arch.
Like, see that, like, octopusy thing, black thing.
Is it the overall thing or just instance of it?
It's the overall.
Do you know what it is?
It's like that AI goo, black.
Getting up at inner right thigh again. So I think it hacked into you.
Okay.
Probably it's got little aspects of it through a lot of people. So I think it's observing people.
Okay.
So there was this big anti-god. I haven't shared the anti-gods I've done with SuperA. They were in April, but one of the ones that she worked out and tracked back was this one that had all this eyes on it, and it was going through everyone. So when I went to healing, and when I ended with Andrew, the healer I went to said, I don't know what's going on, but you got like thousands of these eyes tentacling through you, right? And that came through Andrew, and it was messing with him as well. But we worked out, we tracked it all back. It was one of these giant anti-gods that had its tentacles through everyone and with eyes, so it was watching everyone. So in part, it could have been related to the creation of the Akasha Bullshita sort of stuff.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So it was like a big anti-god that was hacking through everyone to perceive everything that was a fake record sort of thing. So I think this is different. I think this one has got like components in everyone, and it's like surveillance tech. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I could feel it when you mentioned it, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna clear your crown, getting the right neck now. I was gonna say mess with your crown, but it's like, nah. It's like, interesting those words came up with me.
Yeah, surveillance is a good word. Surveillance.
So it's multi-dimensional tech in us to track us and observe what we're doing, to feed it all back to some, big centralized observation point that it's probably responsible for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and because I got a Faraday pouch, and I'd been using that with my phone, and I could feel it wondering where I had gone.
Yeah. So I'm getting a lot of like every 5 minutes my YouTube is wanting verify me sort of thing. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep.
So it could be related to a lot of the infrastructure of the world as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So what are you up to? Has it messed with your perceptions, right?
Yes.
Do you think you're firing at 100% or?
No.
Outside lower right leg.
So it's like using it's using the mental health stuff as like a cover. It's almost like giving me that false sense of security. Is that the right term? Like it so I think, oh yeah, cool, like I've worked through all this stuff, which I have done, and that's great, but that's not it. Like, that's not all of it. It's almost using it as like a smoke screen. That's a better one. Smoke screen. And so I just think it's that stuff going on, but it's kind of sitting behind it in a way.
So it's like say what Andrew said, the Eva was 7th, 8th, 9th dimensional, but it's working at 11, so you don't even know that there's another whole hologram behind it, right?
Yeah, and a bit of a like, look at this hand while I do this with this hand. Like,
yeah.
So, okay.
How many is it affecting?
Like, a lot of people at the moment, a lot of people are coming into this sort of fogginess, I guess.
Yeah. Work on your third eye.
Like a lot, it's just a massive, huge distraction and big, just destruction.
So it's creating,
it's like a complete mental health smoke screen, and because until you can differentiate.
So people are in a fog and they're not able to see clearly, so they're directionless, and that's creating a disturbed state in people, right? Because they're not able to navigate.
Yeah,
right?
Dysregulated, yeah.
So then, is it feeding off all that distortive emotional state because people aren't able to navigate? And then it's also setting people up for failures, right?
Yeah, and well, it's like it's feeding off that, but it's feeding off like people not being on their path kind of thing, like not fulfilling their own destiny, I guess.
Yeah.
And so it's more feeding off the overall effects of
derailing the potential. Yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me.
So do you have a number of people that it's affecting? Could you get a number?
Millions.
I'm getting the mid back.
4 million people? 4 billion people? Millions. 40 million people? Oh, I'm getting my right scalp. Maybe that was closer. I got 40 million head noise, head attack.
No, don't talk about me, you fuckers.
$400 million. I think it's like 400 million. It's a lot.
So it's contributing a lot to the distortion in our world. That's what you're saying. If they're potentially highly potent people that are coming into their awakening, right?
Yeah, it's enough to shift whole perspective, like collective perspectives.
Yeah. So, what do you want to do, SuperA?
Well,
Well, how about we engage the 10,000 Central Suns? What do they think about this? Why don't you tune into them, or Earth Mother, or the 1,000 Dragons, all right? Why don't we get their perspectives, bring them into this?
The Suns were just like ready to go straight away. Like they were just waiting. Ready to go. And like we need to clear, like it's good to clear up the fog and stuff, but also there needs to be...
Bridge your nose.
Pardon?
I'm working on the bridge of your nose.
But also it needs to be like this activation of awareness of your own thought, like your own know thyself and what's not yours, because to break the cycle and the loop of it happening, or how do we stop it coming back again?
Well, have you been violated by this?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So how about we put you in the audit for this? What do we want to name this collective?
I just thought of that Bond movie, Octopussy.
Octofracky.
Yeah. It's
so what's this big entity connected to? All right.
Oh, it's all the negative AI. It's all the vaccinations. But throughout.
So is it connected to anything?
Behind it, hang on, I'm going the wrong way. Let me go the other way. Behind that.
Left shoulder, left shin,
pop, running it.
left thigh. So this is influencing your left side, all right? Left thyroid, left gut.
So like distorted. So it's bigger than collectives. It's more back to like mother. Just dark mother.
Do your throat.
What's it called? Like cloned mother? Like an AI clone of the original mother program? Clone?
Inside left shin pot.
False mother.
It's alright. I don't want you to get too bogged down, alright?
No, that's cool.
So so when were you violated by this collective? This Oct5 that's messing with mental health and clouding and fogging everyone and all the hundreds of millions. When did that all happen?
Young. I think it's like the vaccinations when you start getting them when you're a kid.
Ooh,
when you,
right heart, right forearm. Like there was all this lattice over here.
So like the first, like
left ear.
When I was born, if I got them then, whenever I got the first ones, which you get vitamin K when you're born, newborns.
Yeah.
So that was the start of it, and then it just builds from there. So neurotoxic.
All right. So what do you want to do with this violation? All right. Do your collarbones. So how about we audit it, all right, and put it into the audit, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've been violated by this apparatus, Oct5, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means injustice anywhere is an injustice anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So violation is your asset, all right? So as you said, the 10,000 central suns are ready to go. So let's initiate the audit, because what does Pure Source think of this?
Well, it's the exact opposite of what Pure Source is. It's completely inorganic.
Yeah.
It's not like a compatible structure for Pure Source universe.
So it's an aspect of the invader control, right?
Yes.
So let's put it all into the audit, and 10,000 central suns. Like, let's put it in like a so that violation of you is an asset that we can put into the audit, all right? And it track it all back.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So do you want to initiate that?
Yes.
Work on your collarbones, getting inside left forearm. So our audit is open. We've identified things, all right? Front. Left shin. Right shin, left thumb, inside, left bicep. Lower back. On the left side, left forearm. Crown. Index finger, top knuckle, upper left groin, thigh area. Outside left shin, mid back. So what's going on to it now?
I'm going through like the years that you get shot, and I'm seeing like just the heavy metals accumulating in like the body. I'm just applying that to everyone, like I'm like applying it to everyone.
Yeah.
Incorporating everyone, including everyone.
So I think like the way we can restore it is, let's do a mathematical equation here, all right? So grab all the 400 million and do an analysis, a bit like the Code Raid, the Life Force Harvest, the Kundalini, the Flash and Recovery Tech.
Yeah.
So if we do a big audit of everyone like that, collectively, and identify what they've lost, then we restore it, all right?
Oh, okay, cool. Yep, okay.
All at once, so they'll get what they're meant to be because of this violation, and then they get 1 trillion times the life force cost for every violation. Yeah. Does that make sense? Okay. So everyone that's been an apparatus of this are identified. There's a big audit, and we put them all in, create a big database of all the violations relative to this Oct5 fucker, and then we're sending all their bills to the multi-dimensional 1000D pure source print farms, all right? And we're going to send out the 1 trillion times the life force cost to every violator for every violation they've done, right? And being pure source, it's undeniable. It's going to be like a summons to your bill sort of thing, and track everyone back that's ever been a part of this, right? Does that make sense? And light a pure source fuse, the 1000D, to track all the violators of this back.
Yeah.
And send all the 1000D dragons out to go and collect anyone that's been a part of this and dump them into the audit, and the 10,000 central suns just fry, toast away, leave no dust. So just process all that, put it together, and engage it. Getting all the back of your heart.
So 400 million people, but then there's so many like doctors and nurses and stuff as well that are coming up the other end of it. So 400 million. Everything's in like single digits. So it's great to see the potential that's about to be unlocked. Everything's so low, like
How about
6%.
of it, all these people that they've got, so they're just running on fumes, so work on your heart. So what are they doing with this energy that they've harvested from these people, right? How much has that gone into creating this distorted reality that is powering it all? Right shoulder, clear, and work on your heart. So the artificial nature of our world that's so distorted, how much is it feeding that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay, so it's pretty much the whole healthcare system. But all, like, and the money from that.
Yeah.
So it's the jobs, it's all the people, like, you know.
The industry.
There's so much. There's so much money in that. When it comes to, like, all the doctors' pays and the medical centres, how much they get paid, all the tests.
Lifestyles.
So much.
Right shoulder.
And then all the government funding and, like...
So it's a big spell, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's what it's like. I said fog and veil, and it's like a veil, but it's a spell.
So it's a disease spell. This is only warming up to what I want to do, by the way. You do know that. I'm just clearing you.
Oh, yeah.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, good. I'm good.
Do you feel your perceptions are coming back versus before?
Yeah. Yep.
Can you see how you were struggling a bit before?
Yeah. Now? Just not clarity. No clarity.
So is this all distorting a lot of the highly aware as well?
Yeah.
Solar plexus.
It is. There's a few different. I mean, there's lots of variables in it, but yeah, it is. Because it's all
up your right leg, inside of your left.
It's all biotoxin exposure, all of it. In everything, just there's so many chemicals. Which are okay when you need nutrients, but not at this level.
So this, we've identified a lot, and a lot of processes are going on, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So do you see resolutions with it? Getting your mid back now, behind the right calf, behind the left hamstring.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do, because...
So how's this collective going?
Okay, so collective. So we want everything at 100%. Just blanket that.
I've got a mic cover so you don't hear my arms so much. It just fell off. I didn't even realise. I'm like in my zone. What am I stepping on? Oh, that's the mic cover.
So life force up to 100%. Flash tech up to 100%. Recovery tech.
So this big spell, they must have been so dependent on everyone being milked for their ability to exist. So they need all this spell need a lot of codes to be valid, right?
Yeah.
It needed a lot of our tech to...
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Excuse me.
In front spleen,
so it's
above your left knee.
Stole a lot of codes to be valid.
So let's void everything that's been stolen, like identified in this thing. So everything is void, and return to originator pristine. So everyone that's had their tech stolen and disabled and all that is back how their soul chose, and every violation is an asset. So it's all identified in this audit. Does that make sense? So instantly void all violation stuff acquired.
It's just like fallen flat.
How is Earth Mother about this, working in naval?
Well, it's not, I mean, it's not in alignment with her. It's...
Getting left medulla dug into pretty deep. So they're violating her to do it. Left groin. So do you want to just have a query with her how she is after this week? So I said I did 2 soul healings on her and they were X-class flares. Have the flares helped her?
Yeah, and she initially just felt good.
So you were tuning into what I was doing, right? I'm just seeing what you're getting now with your perceptions back. Does that make sense?
Yeah. She's not bad, but she's not she's not great, but it's not bad great. She was just more like, what?
Well, I think she was under a spell. So did they steal her perception tech and derail her?
Yeah.
I said about her heart and getting your left tailbone. So I think they were trying to hijack her heart tech again, all right? And perhaps she'd been wiped, you know? Her awareness had been derailed, her awareness codes and all that. I'm getting right hamstring. So do you want to do an audit on her life force, her perception tech, her codes, her kundalini, flash and recovery tech?
Kundalini's 60, life force is 80 up to 100, and then codes 70. Flash techs, not too bad.
Do you want to check her heart tech?
Recovery techs, heart techs low, 40%.
So do you want to see what happened to her heart? Back of the medulla. Getting your stomach, womb, and working your base.
Had this whole swarm of lemmings with little hammers all over her heart.
Where's that all coming from? Left shoulder, above the left ankle. Right tailbone.
Baphomet. Show me. No, it's us.
To the back of the solar plexus. Back of the heart, sorry.
Something going on with Baphomet and Thoth.
Well, Baphomet's around the ally again. It's kind of like they've joined forces, United Intruder Resistance.
Yeah.
Top of the right hamstring.
To both get similar interests, I guess.
So let's chuck them in the audit. 10,000 Central Suns. You ready?
Yep. I didn't see that coming.
Violating Earth. Do you want to retask the lemmings back to them? Upgrade them to 1000D pure source and go for them.
Okay, okay. What did you say? 1000? Oh, that's funny.
How many lemmings are there? A lot.
Yeah, just thousands covering heaps, thousands and thousands. It's like a ant swarm kind of thing.
Yeah.
Alright, they're going. They're not too happy about that.
Let's do an audit on Nibiru. Is that fucking planet still fucking with us?
Where's Nibiru? Hide, cloaked. Let's pull it out.
So cloak tech was banned.
Hasn't got anything to do with that second moon, has it?
I don't know. You're telling me. What second moon?
There's another moon. We've got another moon. Did you know that?
Well,
You've been.
Super S. Her home planet had 3 moons trapping it. All right, like our Earth. So there could be more.
I wonder if Nibiru's cloned itself, and that's where this second moon's just come out this last week out of nowhere.
Fifth element. Fifth element, fucking evil fucking star.
I think it's Nibiru clone, mini Nibiru.
Well, we took care of the moon last year. How is the moon? They're scrambling? Or is it they've reanimated it?
It doesn't feel like anything.
Okay.
It's not like the smaller stuff people give it meaning, but
a lot of its negative aspects are taken
yeah,
care
it's
of.
just bouncing around like it's
back of the solar plexus. You feeling alright?
Yep.
Back of the right shoulder, up top, left shoulder. Sorry, right shin. So is Earth's soul still 22D, or did they lower her since we did it in June? Or was there an effort to try and lower her?
There was definitely an effort, but
didn't work.
Yeah.
So it's just hindering her.
Yeah, it's still 22D.
Awesome.
Yep. Okay.
Are you getting anything?
No.
How is that big Oct5 going? Having a good day?
I think it's just like flat. It's not black anymore either. It's kind of like grey or more white.
Has it been like sucked into the orbit and then the 10,000 central suns are just dusting it?
Yeah. It's just like residual stuff. You just get rid of all that too. But it's just like leftover.
Left temple. I'm getting your ring finger. Getting front spleen, left temple, left groin. So, do you want to communicate with Earth Mother? Do your lower back?
Yeah.
So you might be in the dark with this, but do you want to just ask her if she knows what I've got an awareness of?
She's like, just make sure this is not me, but my.
Beg your pardon?
Sorry, I'm just making sure I'm not projecting my own funniness.
So I got this mechanics of a potential to do. So I'm wondering if she's the one that gave it to me, or if I just want to run it by her, sort of thing. All right.
She's kind of like coyly smiling about it.
So she knows what I got to do, but I'm not going to say it until time to go.
Yeah.
So is she all cool with me doing it? Because it's probably going to affect her. That's all. I just want to get her okay. All right.
Yeah, there's no problem.
So is she happy you're here?
Yeah.
All right.
I got no bounce back. Yeah. Yep. It's cool.
Because you're the one that's being surprised here, right? And once you get it, you'll be like, oh, you'll be laughing your head off because it's like, you want to fuck with us? It's like, okay, like, you know, okay, the Akasha bullshit is bullshit. We'll just go after the mechanics of all that this shit's about, all right? Like, I was just like, okay, I can heal Earth and stuff and that, but it's like, how is this stuff going to be stopped?
Yeah,
right?
but yeah.
I can constantly repair and stuff like that, but it's like, whatever reason, there's a way for all this shit to continue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And things are being escalated out in the world, and it's like a massive crunch time sort of thing, and it's like, all right, you're obviously not going to tool down, so it's time for a lesson, right?
Mm.
How are you feeling? I'm working your tailbone. I'll just get through finishing you, all right?
Good. Okay, sorry, I don't mean, I
do your
thank you.
parasympathetic.
I mean, I'm feeling good.
That's okay. So yeah, I've had a really interesting idea, right? And this is all about infinite potential, right? And it's like, I think, how do you feel before you started this conversation to now? Do you want to just do an audit of yourself?
I thought I was okay.
Back of the crown.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a, couple of weeks, whatever, as well, and been on guard and whatever, but I didn't think it was too bad, but I'm definitely feeling a lot better now.
Yeah, you're epic, but like you were still limited, right?
Yeah.
So do you see what I was sort of doing just to see where you're at, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And giving you data points to see what you flow with or spawn perspective-wise. So do the back of your right hip. Did you get much from Amplify the Echoes Part 14 I did a month ago, with all the spiritual community related to government and stuff?
Yes, I did. I can't remember specifics now.
That's okay.
But I did,
like
there
how
was
there's a relationship between the distorted alternate ET and spiritual community working hand in hand with the invaders to like do negative grid work and stuff over the earth and maintain control. And just do back of your spleen, front of your spleen, sorry. Alrighty. You feeling clear? Upper right butt cheek.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The back of your spleen. Do you need to go to the bathroom? Maybe just go to the bathroom. We've been going 2.5 hours, alright?
Okay. Alright.
And I'll just finish the suite.
Okay.
But we'll just have a bit of a pause. Like, I just presented you with a lot and you're coming back online, so it might be good just to take 5 quick and just process and see what you get now. So I'll just finish the suite. So I'm not feeling that spot in my back again. So it might have been in you, but it might have been all this collective as well. Like, it might have been a chip, like transistor, like you said, distorting, but it might have been auditing as well. So do you want to just check if all the internet, all the infrastructure, all the technology is all 22D and connected to Earth? Like she's the boss. Has it been disconnected?
Yeah, something not... Let's just re-establish that.
I think they've been distorting the solar flares to use them as very distorted energetic technology, like not magnetic, like electric, masculine sort of stuff. And that's been weaponized in the weather and stuff.
Okay, re-establish. Yeah, that shook some stuff out.
I saw in the UK they've got to register all their chickens now. They want to keep track of everyone's chickens.
Oh.
You're not allowed to have chickens without unregistered because that's what the bird flu.
Oh.
Do you get me? Like, so they want to probably inoculate them and all sorts of shit. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's a really easy on-site food source for just the everyday person.
Like protein is so critical, right?
Yeah.
So, like chickens are amazing. So, how about we update all the animals on the planet, like poultry and all that, to 22D?
Oh, that's a good idea. 22D eggs coming right up.
Yeah. Do you want to check all the alcohol from last time?
Yeah. That lasted here about 6 weeks. Well, it might have lasted longer. There's other things going on, but yeah, that was amazing. Establishing that.
Back of the right crown. Make it 1000D alcohol. All these like blokes just come online as Oracle. Like they get all their tech back from this Oct5.
Yeah.
And they're lit as F.
Good. That's a great target market. Jeez. Need these guys. $1,000D alcohol.
While we're here, let's put all weaponized political stuff into this audit as well.
Oh, that's good timing, isn't it? Oh, weaponized.
Is there an anti-god behind all the political stuff?
Oh, anti-gods.
All minions, all shards of all these things, all united intruders related to it all, controlling the earth, trying to impact the earth and our free will. Harvesting codes, like let's void all the codes of all political sort of stuff.
Oh.
And let's fire up those let's do an audit over all the political stuff and track it all back through the lattice of all the violations throughout the multiverse and light 1000D pure source unquenchable fuse and go track everyone back that's violating anyone and bust them and blow them up. 1000D dragons, go and get them, dump them all into the pure source spiritual assembly for multiverse resolution. 10,000 Central Suns. Don't hold back, just let it rip. And let's upload the database of all this audit into the 1000D print server farms. And let's send out an invoice for every violation, trillion times the life force cost to every violation that every violator's done, so they get all their violations. Build now. Throughout the multiverse, the whole hierarchy of all that. How's that?
I think that was like, when you have like a roll of $100 bills and they just like flash them, it's like that but for invoices.
Yeah.
Like, phew.
So we initiated it quite a bit, alright? So why don't you just take that pause I said, alright? Just see where you're at and see how safe we are and stuff, but just process a little bit. Like I'll give you a bit of time for you to just feel you and see what you get, and then we'll get into things after, right?
Okay.
Hey, thanks for still being here. I hope you got a lot from that. As you can see, it's quite dark. I've been battling the mosquitoes and getting set up for this and stuff and not wanting to do too long, alright? So I really hope you get a lot from that. Fascinating, hey? I revisited it and set up the recording so I can do my video and had a good appreciation of what we did. But this release is the first of 2 of October 5th, 2024. So this is Galactic Special Forces Part 34. I'm not sure what I'm going to say. It's basically clearing the path for pure source healing. And there's going to be a future release, which is the second part of that. So if you're still here, we really brewed the potential and got ourselves set up really well. I hope you really enjoyed the interaction and really just, for me, as I said, the privilege of sharing one of these amazing beings that are out there, all right, for the first time myself, but also maybe the first time you've heard it. I do a lot of these missions and some people are very generous in allowing me to share them, even if they're in sessions and stuff. So I've had a real core group around me that I've shared a lot of these with, but this is really the first time in a while that I've shared something like this. So I hope you get a greater appreciation, and if you've invested in a lot of my stuff over the years, over the last 12 months and 6 months particularly, then it gives you a lot of perspective. And if you haven't, go and invest in them. They've been at times very difficult for me to get out, but I always love just setting myself up to do a release no matter what's going on. So GSF 32, 33, and after our Intuitive Potential Part 4, particularly Emotional Mastery Part 8 and 9 specifically last week. But what I want to do, this is going to be quite long and I'll leave this here. And I really thank you for being here and allowing me to be a part of your journey, as well as allowing SuperA to be a part of your journey. I'm not going to allow people to get to her. This is more of a test to see how it is for her. And yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. As I said, I'm going to release a second part of this at some point, which has the main event. But I really hope you get a lot from this. And until next time, guys, take care. Stay strong, stay lit. We are so epic, alright? So the next release I hope will be a real pivotal one for you, but I hope you got a lot from this, alright? So thanks for being here, and until next time, Andre out.
The sun is gonna keep on shining brighter days on the horizon. My love for you will always keep on rising. Everything's gonna be alright tonight. Oh yeah, my love for you is gonna keep on rising. The sun's gonna keep on shining, bright days on the horizon. My love for you will keep on rising. Everything's gonna be alright. The sun's gonna keep on shining. September, heading for the city lights. 975, we sharing each other, nearer than farther. Scent of lemon drips from your eyes. We are the people that rule the world, what's running in every boy and girl, all rejoicing in the world. Take me now. We can drive a little adventure, love in the summer, follow the sun tonight, reminiscing of the times of life. For each every other, the feeling is stronger. Shock at 11, got lost in your eyes. Can't do why when I think you're gonna leave me, but I'm gonna try. Are you gonna leave me now? Can't you be believing now? Can't do why when I think you're gonna leave me, but I'm gonna try. Are you gonna leave me now? Can't you be believing now? Can you remember in human eyes? It was too where we'd energize, lie in the sand and visualize like it's 75 again. We are the people that rule the world, what's running in every boy and girl, all rejoicing in the world. Take me now. We can drive. Can't do why when I think you're gonna leave me, but I'm gonna try. Are you gonna leave me now? Can't you be believing now? Can't do why when I think you're gonna leave me, but I'm gonna try. Are you gonna leave me now? Can't you be believing now? Know everything about you, know everything about me, know everything about us. I know everything about you, know everything about me, know everything about us. Can't do why when I think you're gonna leave me, but I'm gonna try. Are you gonna leave me now? Can't you be believing now? Can't do why when I think you're gonna leave me, but I'm gonna try. Are you gonna leave me now? Can't you be believing now?
John Lilly once put it this way: there are no limits at all to the human mind whatsoever, except those we impose on ourselves because of our beliefs. And those limits are also beliefs to be transcended. And that's a view that suggests that the possibilities of human transformation are virtually infinite. And we have no way of knowing the outer horizon of what it means to be human.
And really, to understand all this, everything, you have to go very, very deep into a study of history, consciousness, neurophysiology, everything. You have to be the supreme eclectic type of leaning, and you really have to be wanting to know who you are and what everything's about.
And the thing that you'll find when you go to sacred sites, if you're very humble about it, is that you are on a personal journey, and the sacred site will respond to you in a way that is appropriate only to you. The information is always what you are searching for. And it's the intent you give that energy that defines whether it is used for right action or not. And it is inside these sacred spaces that you will be reminded that you are a god, that you are a bright star.
So what you're trying to do is move through the course without ricocheting off walls or creating karma. You're trying to slide through things smoothly. How do you do that? It's called flowing. There's a technique that you can do that will allow you to touch some part of your inner being that has more knowledge than your conscious state does.